right, guys. So what was the question, Luke?
So 2 questions in kind of one. Do you train differently for a Supermatch compared to a tournament? And which one do you think is harder to win?
Okay, so the question is, do I train differently for a Supermatch or a tournament? I train exactly the same way all the time. And I've caught a lot of slack since my match against Devon that I need to change it up. I'm like, dude, I've lost 1 match in the last 3 years. I think I'm all right. I just had a bad day, right? That was not my day. I don't know really exactly what happened. Devon came in perfect, and I didn't show up. I think that, and I genuinely believe there's a version of me in training, the guy that pinned the 287 for a triple and broke the cable. I think that version of me would have been very, very competitive in that match, if not won. Unfortunately, that guy didn't show up that day. But the reason I train the same way is my belief is, and a lot of people are like, so what are you gonna do about this? Or if you have to pull this guy, you have to pull that guy. I'm a big advocate of believing in, if I do what I do right, it's gonna beat what you do. So it's not, I feel like if I spend too much time worrying about what you're doing, I'm not focused on what matters, and that's what I'm doing. What sacrifices I'm willing to make, what work I'm willing to do. Which one's harder to win? When you are not a flash arm wrestler, like you don't flash pin people, a tournament format is probably gonna be harder, because I believe this is my belief, maybe true, maybe not. In both of our best forms, I believe Devon Larratt would arm wrestle 100 people or 500 people better than I would. But I think if Devon and I in our best forms arm wrestle 100 matches, I'll beat him more than he beats me. I think I have better endurance against one person than anybody in the world. I think Devon Larratt has better endurance against multiple people. And I'll tell you why, because he has options. I really don't have a lot of options. Once something blows up, I'm gonna be just all heart and side pressure and stuff like that. Devon can pull you outside, he can fatigue that a little, he can pull you inside, then he can do something. And so the variety of options that Devon has would be different than me. If you're Travis Bagent, tournament format is probably gonna be easier than a super match because he's gonna flash most people. And once the person pulls Travis more than 1 or 2 times, they may have an opportunity to figure him out. Okay, how do I stop this? How do I do this, right? And in a tournament, if you're on the head, you pull Travis once. And then before you know it, he's won the event, it's over with. And you see a lot of guys like that. You're very lightening Luke Kindt, right? So
I have 0 long matches.
Yeah, you either smack them or you get
a long match, I'm done.
Yeah. So this will go back to how I train and Rebecca yelling at me. At the 2007 WAL, I had won my first round, won my second round.
17.
What'd I say? 17, yeah, that went around to 7. Thanks. So the 2017 WAL, I had trained very, very hard, and it's the first time I'd ever done BFR training. BFR training, I'm a big advocate, blood flow restriction. It increases your VO2 max. It also increases your natural growth hormone production, but also creates ridiculous pumps. So in preparation for that final, I did all my training, there's a protocol for BFR training, which is 30% or 40% of your maximum weight, 30 reps, take a break, 15 reps, take a break, 15 reps, take a break, 15 reps. I was like, nah, I'm just gonna do my normal weight. So I just did my normal circuits with these blood flow restrictions on. It was excruciating.
You need to throw in that you had your physical therapist.
I did have my physical therapist there watching me, right? So he was like, he brought this $5,000 machine over, plugged me up to it, typed everything in, and we just did my circuits, right? So I had a lot of help getting ready for that. But, so it was a seeded event, and because they had recruited me from the UAO, I wasn't seeded. And I had that not great performance at the Chicago event. I took 3rd behind Travis at Carnegie, and I lost to Travis twice. So I wasn't seeded. So the number 1 seed was Travis Bagent, the number 2 seed was Dave Chaffee, the number 3 seed was Nick Zenith. Because I wasn't seeded, those were the guys I had to beat to get the final to win. So I won my first 2 rounds, then I pulled Nick Zenith in a 1:04 or a 1:07 match. Well, Travis is flashing everybody. I know Travis is next because I've looked at the bracket. I walk off the stage, I'm like, well, I'm screwed now. And Rebecca's like, no, what about your training? What about your BFR training? And here I am just in this fucking horrible mental state that now I'm screwed. I've done all this work and I'm screwed. And lo and behold, I was completely recovered by the time the next match came up. And that's when Travis did the big elbow foul. So I got that win. Then Dave Chaffee got his first pin on me ever. I'm like, wow, that sucks. But then there was enough time between it that then I go back, I beat Travis, and I beat Dave for the finals. But I truly believe that was because that style of training. Because I was used to training with a pump. I was used to having, that wear and tear on my arm. So even though I went through number 1, 2, 3 seeds to win the thing, the training and the preparation, even though it's more designed for a super match format, panned out really well for me in a one-on-one tournament. Because there's so many people, we had a video on that, so many people are like, well, I just don't know if Michael can be successful at a level at this competition that high Because if I get in a long match and the other guy, like if I have 5 long matches and the guy on the other side of the bracket has 5 fast matches, well, he's not pulling the best version of me when we pull, right? But I don't know. I'm a big advocate of training that way. I believe it works. And I don't think it matters what style. Okay, I'll tell you one reason why I think it is so effective, and I think we will all find out on October 16th. Corey West is a phenom. I promise you, that kid is something special. And I'll tell you why originally. So 2.5 years ago, he started coming to my house an hour and 15 minutes each way to train, right? And he would do the workouts with me. He couldn't handle the maintenance weight because, he's a 400-pound kid, and we were doing high volume. Well, I believe he was so naive because he's young, 29, he didn't know that he wasn't supposed to be able to do it, so he would just do it. That to the point to where we were getting ready for my match with Dave Chaffee, probably 6 weeks out, and this is BFRs. We complete the back circuit. And he's like, hey, so we can go up next week? I'm like, well, that was the heaviest circuit I've ever done in my life, the exact same one I prepared for, that I did my peak workout when I was preparing for Pushkar. But if you want to, I guess we will. And because I had Corey training with me, the workout that I did training for Pushkar, the peak one that I was the strongest I'd ever been when I was getting ready to pull Pushkar, 2020 when I was getting ready for Devon, and they paused it. Remember they're like, okay, so here's your date to pull Devon. Oh wait, now here's your date to pull Devon, right? That was I had to stop in the middle of my prep and do 5 weeks of maintenance workout, and my maintenance weight was the same workout that I did preparing for Pushkar. Because my body had gotten so used to that type of training, right? So the weights that were so unbelievable for me to use back then, I did 5 weeks straight, just made it my maintenance. But it's because I had Corey there pushing me. So Corey has gotten very, very good, but I believe no one has had much of an impact on my arm wrestling in 31 years as Corey West has had.